Welcome into Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. Oh yeah, boys. It's Thursday. It is August 13th, 2020. This is Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. And we got a big day on deck and a fun day yesterday. All games all day long. The only problem is I didn't win any money off my games yesterday, but I did put a small bet in for my daughter who wanted to bet the Flyers yesterday at minus 160 on the live line for $5, and that did work out for her. So congratulations to my daughter for winning that money. But anyway, welcome into the show. If you haven't done so yet, there is a subscribe button right down below. 413 people have pushed that subscribe button. Let's push that all the way up to 1,000, get to 10,000 and 100,000 to grow this thing. And also keep in mind, Saturday, opening day, Major League Baseball, rightwager.com. No better place to be. And also keep in mind, if you don't want to have to pay for picks, you don't want to win money, that's fine. That's your separate ideals. But on Saturday, we're also going to kick off shooting out a lot of content on this channel, specifically free play videos, breakdown videos, and a lot of stuff moving forward right through baseball season, the NFL season, the college basketball season. So everything is right here in front of us, and that all kicks off on Saturday. But today we got a small slate of Major League Baseball games that we'll hit to at the end of the card. Some topics that we always like to hit and have fun with. And I like to scroll because the timeline moves really fast, especially throughout Twitter, social media, Facebook, TV, with some of the information coming out and who's doing what. And I just see like it's a shame because I always, growing up being a Miami fan, Florida State was always also on that same standard. Not as many national championships, but always putting out good football teams, top 5 football teams. What a mess they are. Like just, the COVID that they have, they're covering it up. And Mike Norvell coming in, his own players calling him racist. And, the recruiting classes aren't so good. I don't know what happened to Florida State. I mean, that used to be a Pac Dope Campbell top 10 football team year in, year out, barely filling half the stadium, almost getting beat by the ULM Monroes of the world. I don't know what happened to that school, but it's a shame. I hope they get back up because it's always fun, specifically when Miami, Florida, and Florida State play each other. That's mythical state championship that they have. Usually, if you win the state championship, you're on your way to a national championship in the past. We'll see if that continues, but it's just a shame what happened to Florida State and where they're at this time and age. Hopefully, they get it together. And also, hopefully the state of Florida gets it together and we can have a football season because Ron DeSantis wants the SEC to play because the Florida Gators are there. Ron DeSantis wants the ACC to play because of Miami and Florida State, and also want to have some fans in the stands. And it looks like the ACC and SEC are progressing toward a season, which I'm really happy at. Let's get some of the hot topics before we hit Major League Baseball today. Let's get to it, baby. Sports Betting with Donnie. These are your Sports Betting with Donnie hot topics of the day.
Oh, yeah, talking a little bit of hockey here. How about this? Well, look, Flyers, back in the 80s, the Flyers were number one on my list of my 4 for 4 out of Philadelphia. I loved my Philadelphia Flyers. I cried myself to sleep in 1987 when they lost in Game 7 to the Edmonton Oilers when they took a 1-0 lead in that game. And I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'll see some of the replays that come on, and I'll watch right up to about the first couple minutes where the Flyers take the 1-0 lead, then go on the power play and can't score to extend it to 2-0. Then I shut the game off. I'm the same way when I take a look at the 2002 NFC title game, which I was there in person in the 700 level against the Bucks. It's probably the greatest emotion I've had in my life both ways. Outside, but we got to take out the Eagles Super Bowl win. But before that, I'm talking at that time, the highest of highs I've ever had. Packed stadium, rowdy crowd. Jessica Simpson, I remember it like it was yesterday. It's 18 years ago. Jessica Simpson sings the national anthem. The planes fly over. The billboard signs at the top of the vet, which used to say like Budweiser, we're saying like from up here, we can see San Diego because that's where the Super Bowl was going to be played. And also Brian Mitchell returning the opening kickoff. And 2 plays later, Deuce Staley running it in for the touchdown. I had a blazing headache. I was out of breath. It was 25 degrees outside. I was in a full sweat, and I looked at the clock, and I told my buddy sitting next to me, my God, we have 59 minutes left in this game or whatever it was left. It was amazing. And then all of a sudden it just went downhill. And I remember booing Ashanti and Ja Rule at halftime when they had their halftime show. McNabb, rusty, coming off the broken leg, won the week before against Atlanta. Not able to do it. Simeon Rice was a terror in that football game coming around the end. And then just as we were creeping back into that football game, Rondé Barber goes right down the sideline with a touchdown. And it was absolutely silence. I was a zombie at work. I had one of the worst productivity months I ever had in January of 2003, which was the 2002 NFC title game. It was the worst. I couldn't care about anything less than football, just getting to that game. Couldn't wait to get to the game. When I got to the game, they took the loss, and I was just a walking zombie. And that should have been the Eagles' first Super Bowl, but it wasn't. What's up, Austin Marshall? How you doing, buddy? How you doing? But anyway, neither here nor there. Let's talk about the Flyers yesterday. Nice 2-1 win. Number 1 seed, man. It's been a long time since I've been watching the Flyers, since, again, the mid-1980s. Those 85, 86 teams. I even went to the school where Pelle Lindbergh, if you remember that goalie, who crashed into I guess you would call like a cement partition or whatever, outside of Somerville School number 1, which was my grade school that I went to. So Pelle Lindbergh crashed into my grade school and killed himself back in the day. Outrageousness. And what a sad time that was. So, but some of those memories just creep in. But the Flyers back in at number 1 seed. Been a while since the Flyers were the number 1 seed and didn't play all that well. But the sign of a good hockey team, and the sign of any team anywhere, is winning games where you don't bring your A game. Nice 2-1 win for the Flyers. Should have added a late goal. Had a couple open nets that they did miss, couple posts. But I thought Montreal did play well through portions of that game. Close game, and the sign also of a good team is when you take the lead early, that's nice. But when the opposing team ties it up, and a minute later you take the lead back, that takes the steam out of the sails. And the Flyers certainly did a great job with that. And we're going to move on to another Philadelphia treasure of mine, the Philadelphia Phillies. We're saying here behind the scenes, right? You got to sign JT Realmuto. He's going to cost you a couple $100 million, but I don't know, $200 million for a catcher. That's the best defensive catcher, bar none in baseball. An outrageously good hitter, great team guy, in great physical shape all the time. He's going to cost a lot of money. But I say to myself, you signed Bryce Harper for $300 million. You have a couple pitchers that you signed, Zach Wheelers of the world, Nola. Okay, I get it. Rhys Hoskins absolutely stinks. Get a couple decent players, veterans in that lineup, but does it even matter? Does it even matter if you only have 2 starting pitchers and 1 guy out of the bullpen who can't pitch every night, who's your closer? Does it even matter? Like, you're better off just saying, JT, we love you, bro. But if you're going to cost $25 million a year, I'd rather buy 3 guys, top-level guys, and put them in my bullpen so at least we have a chance at victory. And yesterday, I like the team total Phillies over 5. They only get to 4 runs. But what are you going to do when you have double-digit hits? You scored the 4 runs. You go 2 of 10 with runners in scoring position, and you have lineup killer Rhys Hoskins in the lineup. How do you ground out? Like, you're the second batter in the game, and you ground in the 3 double play balls. Like, you're talking about setting the table or just doing productive outs, or hell, how about throwing a base hit every once in a while for your 3, 4s, and 5s to come up, like JT Realmuto and Bryce Harper with guys on base where you can't pitch around them. But this knucklehead has just been outrageously bad, and it started second half of last year of that downward spiral of doing nothing but launch angle. Home run or nothing. If I hit 179 but put 35 balls in the seats, a la Joey Gallo, that's all that matters. But that's such an anchor in your lineup. And boy, the Phillies are just disgusting right now to watch. Taking leads, you're getting beat by $3 lineups out here. It's outrageous. Yeah, Flyers riding goalkeeping, but necessarily play well. I think they will. They're a pretty good ball club, a pretty good hockey club. Phillies are nothing but a headache. It's atrocious to watch the Phillies. I don't get any enjoyment whatsoever out of the Philadelphia Phillies at this point, especially when I lose money on them. I mean, come on, man. 3 runs in the early part of the game, constant runners on base every single inning, and it looks like you're finally going to get over the hump in the 8th inning when your first 2 guys reach base, down 5-3. You got first and third. Jay Bruce comes up a lefty going against a righty. Terrible at bat. And I love Jay Bruce. He usually puts in good at bats. A horrendous at bat for Jay Bruce. Strikes out. So, all right. So Jason Knapp comes up, a guy who I hate, actually is playing decent this year. He gets a base hit. So now you got first and second, 1 out, 5-4. And then you got Roman Quinn coming up. And look, I love Joe Girardi. I think Joe Girardi is a markedly better manager overall than Gabe Kapler was, who just looked at a spreadsheet and, put coconut butter all over his body. But you have to know in that instance, like, he's not a cerebral player. He's a pretty stupid baseball player, Roman Quinn. Yeah, he's really fast. That's fantastic. And he went yard the night before, which is like the worst thing possible for his ego to be like, oh my God, I can actually hit a home run. He works it to a 3-1 count. And keep in mind also, if you're watching the Phillies game, which, was on like some random ass channel because we had so many sports on yesterday, some Apple, I don't even know what app was on. Cozy, C-O-Z-I, like the restaurant, I think it was on. But anyway, like, he literally got 5 strikes. The umpire was terrible last night. He should have struck out way before, but ends up working a 3-1 count and then striking out. And then McCutchen comes up to the plate. He's hitting like 180 as well where the kid made a really nice play. Rio Ruiz made a great play at third base and flipped the ball to second base just in time to get napped. And that inning was over. You should have had 5 right there. You should have been going the extra innings 5-5, which we all know you put a man on second base, you're almost guaranteed 2 runs, run for each team in the 10th inning. And you can move on with your life and pick up your victory. But that didn't happen yesterday. And that's mainly because the Phillies absolutely stink. No, I mean, I don't know who's pretty boy. I mean, Bryce Harper's been really good for the Phillies, even this year. Time to raid the Brewers. Like, yeah, they're going to give us Christian Yelich. I remember that was a fight where the Phillies didn't want to give up too much to get Christian Yelich, and he goes and he's the MVP over in Milwaukee. But thank God we got JT Realmuto. Can you imagine the Miami Marlins if they really cared about their fans or winning or doing anything or being competitive? The amount of talent that got cast away off of that roster, they probably would win the National League East if they kept everybody. Signed Stanton at a huge contract, ship him out immediately. Who else was on the team? Marcell Ozuna, Craig Yelich. You know, you had Jose Fernandez who passed away, which was a shame. Another big-time talent on that team. There's a couple more guys I know I'm missing in that lineup that were day-to-day guys down there in Miami, which were really good, man. They were a really good baseball club. Really good. But the Phillies thinking out loud just pisses me off, to be honest with you. It shouldn't be like this. And everybody is going to make the playoffs this year. It looks like the Phillies probably are still going to miss the playoffs. I mean, how outrageous is that? How outrageous is that? Just flipping around trying to check some banners here. But that's the Phillies. We're going to set up the Major League Baseball card in just a few moments. But we are going to, I see somebody in the chat box here talking NFL. We're going to hit that right now. Give me 30 seconds. SBR ad. Look, we do great things at SBR. I'm on 30 p.m. baseball show. You saw I retweeted out, if you follow me, at Rightside VP, a $50,000 pick'em tournament for the National Football League. Yeah, National Football League is actually going to play, believe it or not, even though we don't get any news. I'll be back in 30 seconds. We're going to hit the NFL, folks. Hey guys, Donnie here with SportsBookReview.com, the single best place on the internet for video and also written sports content. You see me do a lot of videos on our YouTube channel at SBR Sports Picks, bringing you all the latest up-to-date information. And also, if you want to win at sports betting, it's always important to get the best lines possible. So check out SBRodds.com, SportsBookReview.com. NFL action here. Let's get to some talking here. Let's see who the chat box here brought up a comment. Let's get it in here. Still like the Phillies today. I'm going to look at that in just a few moments and see what's what on that. Where we got here. There we go. Kittle. Yeah, Kittle got the big extension. And I have 2 things to say about that too, which is really interesting about this. The 5-year, $75 million extension, which he deserves it. He's a fantastic, fantastic tight end. But in this whole day and age of who gets credit for what, I honestly get a laugh out of it. Who cares who had it first? Who cares? Every agent, every media outlet, so maybe somebody gets fed the story, right? Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, if this one came from Barstool, I mean, whoever it came from. Somebody's going to get it first, and 3 seconds later, the tweak, it's almost like saying, like, I'm going to give this guy the exclusive. Dave Smith for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Boom, blast. He gets like 30 seconds to type it into his phone and retweet it out. And then the GM pushes the button, boom, or the agent on the other 700 people that get it and they report on it. Does it really matter who gets it first? Who the hell cares who gets it first? Seriously. Are you offended? Like if you got a text from an agent and you put it out and you were first, so you tweeted it first, but you want every other account to be like, at Rightside VP had it first. Who gives a damn? Do you think Adrian Wojnarowski for ESPN gives a damn if he was first or credited first? He's got millions of followers. When he puts it out, he's first to his followers. This whole instant, gratification. And I need to be first. You better. And even like Clay Travis does it a lot. I think Clay Travis is an interesting account to follow because I like to follow guys of all the spectrum. So I get that total feed. Like, I'm more conservative in my nature voting. So I have some conservatives on my timeline. And look, usually not political people, just in sports and some of my friends. But I also have liberals on my timeline because I like that opposite back and forth. Because if I don't know what's going on in the Democratic Party, I love the tweets. If I don't know what's going on in the Republican Party, I like the tweets so I can sort of counterbalance it and get that even flow. And I'm the same way in sports as well. So I follow Whitlock. I follow, Barstool. I'll follow Clay Travis because I like stuff that's interesting to me and makes me laugh. So when I see stuff tweeted out, like Clay was on a bender the other day about ESPN reporting on his Trump interview, but not saying his name. Who cares? They say it. Who cares? What does it matter? Like, your own people know you're on there. You know you did it. You're hearing your voice or whatever. You know that's your interview. And if somebody wants to go, hey, well, I wonder where that interview was, they're going to find you. Who cares? Who gives a damn about being first in anything online? I want to be first online. I had the story. You better. These people aren't crediting me out here for being first by 10 seconds. Who gives a damn? The news comes out. Your followers see it. They think you're first anyway. And so, like, oh, man, you got scooped by 30 seconds on this. So-and-so signed with this team. They put a tweet out. 1 minute later, you put a tweet out. You better credit that guy who tweeted it out 30 seconds before you. Enough with this nonsense. But anyway, some NFL news out here. And yes, yeah, there's actually NFL news. And I wanted to talk also because it says Hard Knocks down there as well. Nobody's watching Hard Knocks. And I can't, like, I actually tuned in because I was flipping around channels and I saw it coming up at, like, you know, on the East Coast here. So it comes on 10 o'clock on HBO. 9:56, I actually tuned into it because I saw it up there. So let me just wait for it and watch. And I like football, so I like to watch. But I remember when they were floating earlier in the day, or maybe it was the day before, like some of the highlights is the wrong word, but I guess like a trailer, like you would have like a movie. And I'm looking at this going, they're not hitting. They're in shorts. They're in T-shirts. They're wearing masks. We're basically just watching guys get tested. Honestly, like, what's the point of watching Hard Knocks at this point? And I sent a tweet out the other day. I said, like, because they're saying, like, oh, you know, will you watch Hard Knocks or what's it going to look like? The fun of Hard Knocks is watching not the superstars, because you still like to see them interact. And, you know, the Julio back, let's just say the Atlanta camp where you had Matt Ryan, Julio Jones. You know, they're fun to watch because they're superstars at their position. MVPs, dominant players. You want to see how they interact in their day-to-day and how really good they are and the top of their craft. And it's fun to watch. But you get more interesting parts. That was Tyler Starr, the kid from Atlanta, who was trying to make the roster as a late round draft pick and see if he can stick on special teams, and how they play day to day in camp, but more importantly, how they play week to week in the preseason. That's what makes Hard Knocks fun, going along for the ride, even going way back to like the Dave Campo Dallas Cowboy days, where you're following to see if Danny Amendola was going to make the roster, or two linemen were swinging at each other down in the I think it was the Alamo Dome where these held their training camps at least during that season. I know they've been out to Napa lately as well. And this year they're going to probably just stay at the Star and probably always stay at the Star. But Jared likes to take his team on a world tour, go up to Napa Valley and wine country and put on a display. But those were the fun things, watching who was going to make it. Chad Hutchinson, I mean, that Dallas team stunk, but it was still interesting to see with the pads on, with the day-to-day play and the kids making mistakes and trying to make the roster. But I guess I'm watching, if anybody watched it too, because you're seeing it run through. And when you watch Hard Knocks, you're going, wait a second, like they're running or having a walkthrough, and Jared Goff is making his reads, and instead of throwing the ball, he's going like making his reads and progressions, which is pointing at him. Is that in the CBA where if you have a walkthrough, you can't even throw the football during a play? I mean, that's kind of garbage if you ask me at that point. But nobody, like 200,000 people. Look, come on, man. LA's got a couple million people and only 200,000 people. And the only say, well, I hate the Chargers. I'm not going to watch them. I'm a Rams fan. Well, both your teams are on there, and only a couple 100,000 people watched it, which brings up even another thing. I'll get back to talking NFL in just a second here. Is the fact that I see some of the tweets coming like who's watching this and who's watching what. And I'm actually kind of surprised because it comes from a Clay Travis tweet, but I don't really care about the crux of the tweet. It's like, oh, you know, Hannity or so-and-so is out doing the NBA. Who cares about that? That doesn't even ring a bell for me. I'm actually shocked that you have a Portland Trailblazers game and a Dallas Mavericks game in the bubble with not much to do, or the NBA's finally back. But you only have like 900,000 people watch that game between Dallas and Portland when they're trying to make the playoffs. It really took me aback. And even the Lakers, who you just put, it doesn't even matter if anybody's even playing on the Lakers, but LeBron did play. 1.5 million people, that's it, that watched that game. I'm really surprised at some of these low numbers. I know right out of the gate, you know, most people like myself, and again, this coming from, I'm not really an NBA type of guy, NBA fan, regular season wise, but I like the playoffs. Like when it came back, like I just wanted to see it on TV and it was cool. And then outside the Sixers game, which I would tune into because I'm not a big fan of games that don't mean anything in any sport. And we always get back to the NFL preseason. Like the NFL is my favorite thing in the world. Like I love it. I can't watch preseason. It's horrendous. Watching starters play like 2 snaps and real vanilla schemes and horrible broadcasts in games that don't matter, where the only thing you hope for is that a guy on your team doesn't get hurt. I don't like any of that stuff, but I was really surprised that the NBA ratings are that low in the bubble. You figure they would be a couple million people watching each and every game, because what the hell else are you going to watch at this point? No, people watch baseball, I get it, and some will watch hockey, which is even on the lower rung. Nobody watches the WNBA, but the fact that the NBA's ratings aren't higher, now that should improve going into the playoffs, because as I said, again, the common fan like myself who might watch a different type of sporting event all the way through and say, hey, you know what, I'm a hockey fan or an NBA fan, Major League Baseball, or whatever you're watching. It's kind of odd that those numbers are really low. And I don't think it has zero to do with what's on the court or they're kneeling or Black Lives Matter on the court. It really has nothing to do with that, because when you watch the games or their nameplates on the back of their jerseys, after a minute, you don't recognize any of that anyway. Like, even if you hated it or you really like it, it's insignificant after that. It's almost like when you watch and say, you know what, I miss the fans here, and 5 minutes in, you're like, oh, I really like this game. I don't really, care what the fans are actually doing in this one. So what's good out there? Yeah, get some comments out here. Still like the Twins make them look silly. Phillies minus 200. What else we got out here? James Ross. What's good, man? What's good, my friend? Thanks for tuning in again. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please feel free to do so. We're live on 5 broadcasts right now. So it's hard when it's spread all the way around. So it's a couple of broadcasts on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, and also rightwager.com. Thank you for watching each and every one there. I'm excited. And I put out a tweet yesterday and it said, I'm in a really good spot in life, and I'm really happy. Like, it just feels good to get back to doing what I love. Like, content aside, regardless of what company I do content for, I do like to do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing the show in the morning. This is just my own thing. I'm not drawing a paycheck from myself, other than obviously rightwager.com, which is a big chunk of my income that I have with selling picks. But just doing it is fun, and seeing the sports come back is even better. The interaction with people, but also the sweat of it, because I do shows that are, with sportsbookreview.com, and I get an hour or two and set up the show and be a host for baseball. And that's awesome. I love the show. It's so much fun, man. It's so much fun to do. I love that show. But then again, just the sweat of it, because my whole timeline changes on Saturday when you get back into pick mode. And what I mean by that is you wake up and you digest the card, right? And then I'll come on, I'll do a morning show. After the morning show is over, I have about an hour and a half prep time to get to my second show on sportsbookreview.com, which is the baseball show, me and Jason Radowitz. So I look at the card for about an hour, narrow it down again, and I'm on the air, so I have to get picks. Wins, losses, big streaks, losing streaks, it doesn't matter. Win streaks, whatever. But I have to give my thought process on those plays, and they're good. They're well thought out, but it's early in the day. So then you whittle it down in the afternoon, when it's my time. So I'll put out a couple content videos, but then you see that 2 o'clock range where you're down to like your final, let's just say 3 plays you like for the day, but you haven't seen any lineups come out. So by about 4 o'clock at the latest, those lineups will start filtering out. You make your final decision and you put that play out. That's fun for me. And that's fun for being a handicapper. And a lot of you guys, if you do it, the same exact thing for us, right? Like, you have your daily structure. I haven't had it in 5 months. I haven't had a play in 5 months on my website. I didn't retire. I didn't get in a car wreck. I didn't say, I hate this, let me restart it again. My last wager came on a Syracuse Orange team total over that hit. And I was having a great basketball season, and poof, it was all gone. Thought we'd be back in a couple weeks, or, baseball starting up, and that didn't happen. Saturday. It'll be just over 5 months since I put out a play on rightwager.com. And again, I see people jumping into everything every day. You got guys who do the NBA doing horses. You got guys doing soccer, Nicaraguan soccer. You got guys who never dipped into the UFC doing UFC out of nowhere. You got Korean baseball, which nobody ever paid attention 1 millicent. And after watching 2 games, people are experts in the KBO. I stay in my lane, man. I know what I'm really good at, and I know what I'm really passionate about. And that's when you guys see me on camera. I'm never going to fake it. You're not going to catch me on or hosting, unless they pay me a lot of money, a soccer show, because I don't care about soccer. It's boring as hell to me, and it would come off that way if I'm doing a soccer show talking to you guys directly. I love the Flyers. I like watching playoff hockey with the Flyers, but I don't want to do an NHL show because I can't name 20 players. And I say that because I actually can, but on the day-to-day fly, like, you could just converse in the NFL, or I can converse in Major League Baseball and just name any player, anytime, anywhere they're at. And you guys can feel the authenticity when it comes off. If I don't like something, I'm not chiming in. That's why half the time I tweet and I see like, hey, this manager over in, Serie A got signed, and you see me retweet it just for fun and say something like, hey, what a really good signing. This manager is going to be tremendous. That's me poking fun at it. Or I see yesterday my man out in California, Mr. Satan, who I met down in Costa Rica, great guy, funny guy, doesn't want to be on camera, which is always hilarious to me. So we always hide his identity, or if I post a picture, it always used to make me take it down. But, just busting stones where he would say, like, Lukaku, whoever scores a goal. And I'll chime in like, dude, that was the best goal I've ever seen, even though he knows damn well I didn't watch it at all. But it's just my, sarcasm that I like to poke. But it's all doing it in fun and knowing. Like, I argue with people all day long. And I don't like the WNBA. To me, it just stinks. And I don't know how anybody would like it. But there's 2 or 3 people out there that I'm sure like the WNBA. And people say the same thing about me. Donnie, why do you bet like Southern Conference basketball or Southland basketball? Because that's what I like. But I know other people don't like that. And say, boy, you bet a lot of these games that are down on the extra card games. Why do you do that? Because that's where my passion is, in the lower levels of the college basketball ranks. I'm more excited to bet those games than I am a Big Ten game, an ACC game. Now flip it over. Obviously, you want to see the big boys play when it comes down to what, the NCAA tournament. Yeah, talking sports is a lifeblood for us. I can't talk sports to my wife. She'll shut me down in 30 seconds. I'm like, hey, man, did you see that game last night? You see the Flyers, they won? She's already phased off somewhere in Facebook. Like, what was that? Flyer? Oh, they did? Oh, okay. That's just the way. It's just the way it is for most guys. So we got to have an outlet somewhere that we have. But let's get back to some NFL talk. I love to get sidetracked. And yesterday, I had a lot of fun talking about gambling in the casino. You all guys have all been there, blackjack table, craps table, and see all these ridiculous nonsense stuff that actually happens out here. But NFL news, look. We're going to be doing content starting up next Wednesday, both myself and Kyra Proviance on Sportsbook Review. We are the NFL guys for the season. It's going to be awesome. And typically the same stuff we do every time. Like, you'll see videos come out during the week. Then we'll have a pregame show, which is awesome. One of my most favorite things to do. Like that 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock run up to the game, get your last minute information in, fire some bets in. And it's a lot of stress the rest of the way. Half the time I don't even eat on Sunday until like 7 o'clock at night. And I'm completely exhausted from the stress. And it's a great stress. It's an awesome stress to have. But I got to say, in the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles, who early on before the draft took place, saying, you know what? I think the Eagles probably the better team in the conference, in the division, over the Dallas Cowboys. That's the 2 teams that'll be fighting up top. I think, we'll see what you get out of the Giants. We'll see what you get out of the Washington Redskins. But those are the 2 dogs that are going to be fighting at the top of the division. But I think the Dallas Cowboys, each and every year that you look at them, it just seems like they're more outside of the Super Bowl year. The Eagles were so deep and were able to withstand, Jason Peters, one of the best tackles to ever play the game, get injured. Jordan Hicks, middle linebacker, get injured. And, of course, Carson Wentz get injured in that season. Darren Sproles as well. They still were able to overcome that, knock down Tom Brady and the Patriots and win a Super Bowl, which was awesome. But when you go man-to-man on the roster of the Dallas Cowboys, it's really good. And they had Everson Griffen, a pass-rushing defensive end, 1 year, $6 million. And just for everybody out there that I keep on telling you, the NFL doesn't have a salary cap. They'll say they have a salary cap, and, you can't go over this limit. It's just a matter of how much your owner wants to pay out of pocket at a signing bonus so they can spread it out over the years. If you're willing to pay that money up front, you could do it. Do you remember last year when, the Raiders were talking about signing guys and that whole Antonio Brown fiasco? That was real, where the Raiders were out of money and didn't have enough money to scrape together for signing bonuses after that. Like, worrying about signing people. That's real. The Raiders are a cash-poor organization. We're in a bad stadium deal and basically sold their soul to Las Vegas for somebody to give them some money to build a stadium, which they don't own, and move down there to try to get that Raiders brand back. But the Raiders are a cash-poor franchise. It's why Art Modell and the Cleveland Browns, when they moved from Cleveland, which he was cash-poor, went to Baltimore, they forced him out in Baltimore because he didn't have enough money to sustain the franchise and give the signing bonuses and pay the big money that you need, that you should have on hand. Because those old school owners that didn't really build their model on these, some of these guys are trillionaires, like the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers. I mean, look around the NFL. I mean, Jerry Jones is on like 190-foot yachts. Like, these guys can just throw money around. And in the NFL, as long as you have money to afford the signing bonus, you can sign whoever you want. So when we're taking a look at Dak Prescott making $35 million, and that goes against the cap this year, that should devastate your team. It doesn't. They go out and have, Amari Cooper's a $100 million contract. You have Zeke Elliott on a monster running back deal. You have a defensive end on a $100 million deal. You sign Everson Griffen. You sign your 2 linebackers to big money deals. It's what happens. As long as you can afford to pay these guys in the NFL, you're going to have a way.
But it's just good that, like, I haven't even seen the NFL yet. Like, we're talking August 13th, man. We're usually head and shoulders into it, talking preseason football, who's what, where's the depth charts at. And I like to use a lot of different sites, whether it be the Pro Football Focuses. And again, you can use these. You can't take them. Yep, I should say you have to take them with a grain of salt. Whatever works for you. Whatever works, that's it work for you. I like to look at, I know who's good and who's not good. I just like to look to see it, like, depth charts go head to head. That's why I like Pro Football Focus, because you can see the depth charts go head to head. Yeah, they have your player rankings and what you think of, but who's good and who's not good at those positions. But sometimes it's just nice where you're making decisions. You just have it up on your double monitor and you can see the offense versus defense on one team, offense versus defense on the other team, and make your decisions and help you pull forward. But again, this day and age in COVID, no fans. I got to say, like, we're trying to get out here and take a look at what really makes sense in the NFL for handicapping, to be honest, and where you're really going from here and, what you want to do. I think scoring should be up in the NFL this year. And you say, well, they haven't had a lot of time to work out in the offseason, get on the same page. And usually the defense is always ahead of the offense because it's read and react on defense as opposed to execution on offense. But if you're like the Eagles, going down to Washington, let's see, Kyle's got it right here, -6. Normally the Philadelphia Eagles fans take over Washington. It's been that way for a long time because Washington usually stinks. The tickets are available. The Redskins fans don't want to go to the game, so they just sell them cheap to the Philadelphia Eagles fans who drive down. I've been to games. I went back-to-back years, back in the TO years for the Eagles. Usually it wound up being like a Saturday night game late in the season, early 2000s. And those were a lot of fun. Eagles fans take over the game. We won both of those games. Sat in the club level one time, sat in the end zone the next year. But those are fun games to go to because the Eagles fans really travel well and take over that ballpark. But you don't have the same veracity in the fans. So if you take that out and it's silent, you can make all your checks. Now, granted, the defense can certainly hear your audibles coming off the line and they can make adjustments and their coaches can yell. And that's going to be a big part of it. But part of the toughness of going on the road in the NFL is not like just playing football in the moment. It's when the play clock's running down, 10, 9, 8. You break the huddle, you get up there late, and there's 5 seconds left. Your quarterback finally gets under center, and he sees the play that they already have dialed up. It's not going to work. Safety comes down in the box. You're taking a look at a linebacker creeping down or a defensive stunt where they're moving around. You got 3 seconds on the clock, and, dude, I got to get this, switch from left to right. Check 19, check 19. You can't do that when the crowd is in a fever and maybe the offensive tackle didn't hear what you were trying to say and he still runs the play to the left when you're calling it to the right. But everybody's going to be able to hear your audibles and you're not going to be jumping. What's part of going down and playing the New Orleans Saints down in the Dome, right? How about the hard part of that is you're trying to fight against the crowd. And that's why New Orleans is so good on defense and some of the defensive ends really work out well at home. The same thing with Seattle and the same thing with Kansas City. When you have those atmospheres where you cannot hear, you have to go on silent count so everybody goes on ball movement as opposed to inflection in the voice. Hut, hut, hut. If you can't hear that, that's not going to draw the defensive lineman off. So how many times do you see the right guard, smack the center on his ass or on his leg? And that means we're going to snap the ball so everybody get ready. Well, every defensive lineman, every offensive lineman is looking down at the ball, whether on the right or the left side. As soon as that ball moves, both of those guys go. The defender can get the jump on that. You know where the defender can't get the jump on? A nice hard count from a quarterback. Hut, hut, hut. Set red. Blue, go. And should I go or should I not go? Well, the offensive lineman knows it's going on 2 or it's going on first sound, but the defensive lineman doesn't know that. But now everybody's going to be in that same mode where the 12th man's going to get taken out. So hard to go to Seattle. The defense is so good. They get after an offense. Yeah, because they can jump snap counts. Same thing with New Orleans. How do you beat Drew Brees down in the Dome? The other offense can't hear. You can hear if you're Drew Brees. Not going to be the case. Everybody is going to be able to hear this time. So that's where it all works out, insides and outsides. Yeah, Chase Young, that's all slotted, though, those first-round picks. Like, Chase Young got a big contract. He'll make a lot of money. That second contract, if he's good, is going to be in that $150 million range for defensive end by the time he's up. But, yeah, no, it's the money for an ownership group to go out there and pay. It's all set up. So if your owner wants to pay and can fork over that big check and doesn't worry about it, because you see the reports that come out every few months or every few years
with actual cash values of what the teams actually spend. And thank goodness Jeffrey Lurie is a great owner. He's always in that top 5, willing to spend what it takes to win, and got us a Super Bowl. And then there's always guys out there that are worried about the real salary cap and try to play it off their fan. We don't have enough money to sign. Trust me, just look at Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, where it doesn't even matter. It usually would break your back to sign a quarterback for $35 million a year. Not because, Carson Wentz is $30 million, but that's spread out over the life of the bonus, where you can, knock it down. It only counts $10 million against the cap this year, 15 next year, 20 next year. But you're looking at a guy like Jerry Jones that's going to have a quarterback making $35 million that hits the 2020 cap immediately. You can't brush that down and say, well, we're paying him $35 a year, but it only counts like 11 against the salary cap. All of that money is going in there, but you still can have a few players on your team with $100 million contracts on top of that. That is amazing, and that's what the NFL does, because there is, as I like to say, no salary cap. We're going to spend the last 10 minutes of the show talking a little bit of Major League Baseball. Keep in mind, again, Saturday, it all gets started, opening day, Major League Baseball, rightwager.com, the only place to be on the internet if you want to win money during baseball season. I'll be back in 1 minute. We're going to talk Major League Baseball. Hey guys, Donnie here with rightwager.com, your handicapping home on the internet. As you know, we specialize in NFL, Major League Baseball, and NCAA hoops. And as always, we are 100% verified on third-party cappertech.com. If you are a gambler, this is your place to be. Affordable packages, 1 day, 7 days, 30 days, 6 months, and even up to a year. Also, when you stop by the site, you'll notice sports content right here with the live broadcast home of Sports Betting with Donnie. There is no better place to be in the handicapper community than rightwager.com. And as always, I like to say, what side are you on? What side are you on out there? You're going to be on the right side on Saturday once we get it going. That finally just feels good. 5 months is up. We'll be able to kick it. We'll be able to get the real games. We'll be able to talk about it the next day. But I do want to talk a little bit of Major League Baseball action and what took place yesterday and how it really leads into today. And it seems like sometimes with a day late and a dollar short on some of my plays, which you're getting those runs. But again, Saturday we'll have a different type of mindset where that full day of capping comes into play with the numbers, as opposed to just taking a look at some things for an hour in the morning, no rosters are out, and just give it a whirl and see what happens. The Tigers yesterday get 5 runs. I could have used that the night before, guys. I could have used it the night before. You get 5 quick, and I'm sitting here like just scratching my head. But my day started out pretty nice. Afternoon action, a hot Coors Field out in Colorado, 13-7. I like the Rockies team total team total 5.5 minus 130 yesterday. That hit. A game I was wrong on. I like the short money line. I should have paid attention to the line movement of the Oakland Athletics and the Los Angeles Angels, 8-4. Thought the Angels might be able to sneak into there. Got down early, tied it back up, but lost it late. Those Cubs, are you guys out there betting those Cubs team totals left and right out here, people? That's winning each and every night. How about the Marlins, 14-11 with the Blue Jays, up 8-0. You're cruising in that game. Next thing you know, we're tied at 11, but the Marlins pulled that out in 10 innings, 14-11. The Royals, I had circled down a team total, which was plus money over 4.5. They got the 5 runs. The Braves, I thought the Braves could get to 3.5 runs, which means 4. They had shots all the way through that game, including in the 9th inning, had a man on first and second with 1 out, needed 1 run to get across the plate. Ozuna was the man, hit a line drive out to, I believe, center field. And I can't remember who was up next, but that certainly didn't cross the plate either. The Phillies did me damage again. I needed 5 runs. They got 4 runs, had a million chances to get that. But the Orioles team total comes in behind it. We talked about that a lot yesterday on the Sportsbook Review Show, saying sometimes you just go against the Phillies because their bullpen isn't going to be able to hold up. And each and every night that bullpen spills runs all over the place. Astros 5-1 over the Giants. The Twins, we talked about this game yesterday, coming up against Eric Lauer, who had terrible numbers against right-handed batters, and a stacked lineup for the Minnesota Twins going up against those right-handed batters. But the fact was that the Twins weren't hitting left-handed pitching all that well already on the season, but sooner or later they were bust out. Last night was that bust-out game, 12-2. Mets 11-6. They continue to score runs in the heat up there at Citi Field. The Rays 9-5 also had the Red Sox in that game as a 3.5 team total. That one actually did come in. It came in late. Snell was fantastic in the game. But again, when you get into a runaway type situation, you're just looking for some scrapes. I believe there's a grand slam, I want to say, in that game as well. to make it or get that fifth run. And I want to say maybe in the eighth inning was a lot of those pile-on runs came in. Rangers 7-4 over the Mariners. And a game I did get wrong was the Padres team total over 3.5. They got shut out versus the Dodgers. Dodgers with a 6-0 win. That should be an interesting, look for the rest of the season. Let's take a look. Let me flip up some things here on the screen just to take a look at a short card. And again, I'm looking at this card the same way you guys are today. First look. Maybe you guys are even way ahead of me at this point. Voss going to be on the mound versus Peterson, the lefty. That is a 1 o'clock start up at Citi Field. 70% of the tickets coming in here early on the New York Mets. And we do have a nice line shift, which I'm going to assume maybe we didn't know the pitching matchup coming in, because if Pinnacle is going to open up at a 111 and shift to a 128, that's a pretty big deal. 131 at Chris, 128 at 5. So complete live shift and movement. 9s across the board, actually 8.5s now at most outlets here in this baseball game. Let's just see if we have some early indicators on weather. You got overcast conditions, about 85 degrees, wind blowing out slightly to left field. So you should get some runs in this game, but coming off of a night game with a lot of runs, now you shift to a day game. You're always going to want to check to see about those lineups once they come out, and they might even be out at some outlets now. And I don't have the exact information that's set up on my site right now to see it on some other couple things. So we'll just, have at it as is. But we'll go right down in order here. 953, 954, Anderson and Darvish on the mound today. 50-50 ticket split opened up at 170, sitting in that same range. 8 as the total it opened up, 8.5 at some outlets here. This game is in Chicago, so we always want to check on to see the weather conditions. And there it is right there, people. There it is, 78 degrees, 8 miles an hour blowing in. So that always triggers some of that, downside downplay, as we like to say. Let me see if I can bring myself up on the screen a little. Hey, look, there I am. So I'm looking at my monitor over. And yes, I actually spent some time finally. And you guys know me. I change my setups all the time. I love the setup I have right now. Dual screens in front of me, laptop to the right that controls everything. Just above my dual screens, a 32-inch monitor that shows like what you're actually viewing right now, so I can see myself as on the camera when I look directly at it, but it sits above at a 32-inch screen. It's nice there. But also I changed my microphone setup where I don't have, since it's good on the show, where you can just put up some certain comments that come up and, put them on the screen. I had to move my keyboard over to slide in my microphone in front of me, but the sound is really good this way. It's comfortable. I can still be my, part Italian self and talk with my hands and, get angry and stuff like that. So that all works out well, but it's really nice to set up I have now. That's why it's such a good spot. I'm having so much fun doing all this stuff like a kid in a candy store, even though I'm going to be turning 43 next month. I feel young at heart. I really do. I feel like I can do this right up till I'm 80 years old and still have that overall fun. Kyle's out here. Pirates lineup is out as well. So he's tweeting out, what time's the Pirates game here? And why don't I have the Pirates? Oh, there we go. 5:10. How's that out already? What's that from? So the Pirates already put their lineup out today? Fantastic, man. We'll be able to dip into this even earlier than expected in a couple minutes here. Eshelman and Arrieta. Eshelman used to be a pitcher in the Phillies organization. Arrieta is going to go on the mound. 8 out of every 10 tickets coming in on the Phillies. Opened up at 180. That now sits at 190. 10 down to 9.5. I'm almost gun shy where should I just go ahead and take Baltimore's team total like it comes in each and every time against the Phillies? But the Phillies should pound Eshelman. And can we get a real lineup out here today? Can you throw Roman Quinn off into the sunset? Can you throw, McCutcheon into the sunset? Can you throw Reese Hoskins? Just get him the hell out of here. Bring up Alex Bohm, the third baseman. And can I just have at least a team that I can be happy with? I don't know. Glasnow and Hart. Is that Kevin Hart on the mound today? Is that Kevin? The lefty? Do some research on him in a little bit. 77% of the tickets coming in here on Tampa Bay. 149 open, 149 staying the same. 9.5s across the board. How about in Boston up in Fenway? You got some hitting weather last night. What did we got today? 83 degrees, 82 degrees. So right around 83 at first pitch. Wind blowing in slightly 6 miles an hour. So not that big of a hindrance, but you usually like to see it blowing out. Trevor Williams, one of the guys I do love to fade, and it looks like a lot of people are trying to fade him here. 81% of the tickets coming in for them. 177 it opens up at, sitting in around that 170 range. Chris still at a 180, the over-under of 9. I'm going to be hunting today for that Cincinnati Reds team total to see if it makes sense. And also final game of the night, 963, 964. Paddock and Urias, 75% going on the Dodgers tonight. That line opened up at 145. Sinks back a little bit at Pinnacle to 139, but Chris has it as a 145. 8s to 8.5s across the board in that respect. So a lot of stuff going on out here in Major League Baseball today, even though there's not a lot of games. to go over. I guarantee you, I'm going to paste this card today, and I need to paste this card today. I really do. I'm upset for the fact that I won last week, and I opened up the week on my play of the days on the SBR show at 0-3. No fault of my own. These rats need just to get a single base hit, and we could be cashing money over here. DM to join my Telegram. Is anyone joining my Telegram? I don't know. We don't do Telegrams anymore, man. What's up with the Telegram? What do you got? SOS? Morse code out there? You want somebody to send you a Telegram? Come on, man. Jump into the 2020s. Now, look, I know what Telegram is. Just busting the guy's stones out here. Telegrams. Join them. Yeah, there we go. So, Kyle, the Pirates, Reds, and Mets. That's great, man. No, I did. I see. Which the great part about it, Kyle, we have so many screens that we could see random stuff when we should be paying attention to just our StreamYard show. Like, I see it all out there, brother. I love it. And at any time, like, you know me, when breaking news comes out, like, here, we'll do it real quick here. Ready? Watch this. Watch this. This is just for Kyle out here. Let's do it here. Ready? Breaking news. The Pirates, Reds, and Mets released already. I added you to see it. See that? That's breaking news right here. That's why I can just get into it right away and be like, dude, that is absolutely breaking news. Mets may only 8 or 9 guys go show up there. Yeah, it is what it is, man. But I'm excited for today. I got to get ready for my Major League Baseball show coming up. I need a winner today. Stop with this madness of, even I actually lost yesterday on my 5-pack, went 2-3, but then dropped my play today. The 5-pack has been working all week long until yesterday. I'll pull it together and get this. But Saturday is going to be awesome, man. We are going to dominate. Yeah, see that? Yes. Yeah, I did go CNN mode right there. Look, I can get breaking news to you guys really fast on this show. And we'll have fun doing it Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. each and every day. Don't want to keep you guys too long, 45 minutes into the show. That's the same design that we have for the Major League Baseball show at SBR as well. Get you in, get you out about 30 to 35 minutes. But I got to tell you, Kyle and I are going to be doing some stuff with the NFL over the next coming week, setting you up, more prep work. It's like you say, evergreen in the industry. So it's always good. Like maybe you want to reach back. I'm like, you know what? I want to see that NFC East preview. I want to see that AFC East preview. You'll list the odds, the stats, who's in, who's out, who's playing, and what we think. Because once you hit that gas pedal in early September, it's a wrap in football. And the thing is, I don't want everybody to get involved in this because everybody decided they wanted their own podcasts and their own content over the COVID break. Like, I'm home. Oh, my God. I see Donnie doing it. I see all these guys doing it. I can do the same thing, which was awesome. Which I would never dissuade anybody for doing something, even if it doesn't pay any bills for you, just to have fun doing it. But if college football goes away, the amount of NFL podcasts that are going to pop up are going to be hilarious. And I'm not one of those guys that says, hey, man, I've been doing these podcasts on the air for so long. Why do you get? I don't care. It doesn't, like, everybody's going to do a show at 11 a.m. Everybody's going to do a show at 12 a.m. or 12 p.m., for football season to get you ready. It's who you guys think can give you the best information, have fun, and be a great platform to do it on. That's why I love it, because I have had so many times, Donnie, why don't you just do your own NFL show on Sundays? Like, that's what you do. Why don't you just have it on channels? It's fun doing with other people on other channels. And it's even more fun when they give you a paycheck to do it, and you get paychecks from selling picks and doing other things. Money is money in this business. There's no such thing as a sellout. Oh, my God, this guy was a free capper on Twitter. He did well for a while. Now he's asking for money. He's such a sellout. The only person that's calling that guy is a sellout. He's upset because A, he was living off that guy's picks for free, and B, there are haters that don't want to see other people do well for themselves. I'm not one of those guys, man. I'm a nice guy, very sarcastic guy, but everybody can eat off of that same plate, and we can all do it together. And that's what we're going to do right here on Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. Saturday is coming up. I'm excited. I'll see you guys right back here on the show tomorrow, 11 a.m. Take care.